Hello everyone, welcome to Indian Judicial Service. In this video, we are going to discussing here MP Civil Judge Solved Paper 2019 Set 2. In previous videos, we discussed Set 1, both sets having a different question. So it is the Set 2 Part 1. And before starting this video, I request you please like and share our videos and subscribe our channel. And those who are not watched the previous video, please go and watch the previous video. All the link of previous videos are available in our description box. Please go and watch this video. So without wasting our time, now come to the point. Now question number 1. These questions are related to Constitution of India. Which article in the Constitution of India relate to the power of the President to grant pardon, etc., and to suspend, remit or commute the sentence in certain cases? So power of President to grant pardon provided in Article 72. So answer here option B. Now question number 2. The Constitution of India, who decide a dispute regarding the election of the President of India. So election of the President, the dispute related to election of the President is solved by the Supreme Court of India. So answer here option D. Now question number 3. By which amendment of the Constitution of India provision regarding fundamental duties were inserted? So fundamental duties were inserted by the 42nd Amendment. So inserted by the Constitution 42nd Amendment Act 1976. And another very important point is Section 11 of the 42nd Amendment Act 1976, and it come into the force on 3rd January 1977. So answer is here option B. Now question number 4. The Constitution of India on proclamation of emergency under Article 352, the President has power to suspend the fundamental right except a right secured by, so except right secured by Article 20-21. So answer here option B. Now question number 5. The Constitution of India, when two houses of parliament differ regarding a bill and deadlock is resolved by, so deadlock is resolved by the joint sitting of two houses. Answer here option A. Now question number 6. The Constitution of India among below which case is not related to constitutional amendment? Option A here Shankari Prasad, yes, it is related to constitutional amendment. Option B here Sajjan Singh, it is also related to constitutional amendment. And option D here most important, Golaknath versus State of Punjab, it is also related to constitutional amendment. But Menka Gandhi versus Union of India is not related to the constitutional amendment. So answer is here option D. Now question number 7. The Constitution of India dash of the total number of members of Goods and GST, means Goods and Service Council, shall constitute the quorum at its meeting. Option A 1/3, option B 1/4, option C half, and option D 2/3. So clearly answer is here quorum made by 1/2 of the members. So answer is here option C. Now question number 8. The Constitution of India disqualification on the ground of defection would not apply in case of merger if not less than, so if not less than 2/3 member of the legislature party concerned have agreed to such merger. So answer is here option D 2/3 member. Now question number 9. Constitution of India, the statement what cannot be done directly, this is very important, what cannot be done directly cannot be done indirectly relates to the doctrine of, so relate to the doctrine of colorable legislation. So answer here option D. Now question number 10. How many schedules are there in Constitution of India? So clearly there are 12 schedules. So answer here option B. Now question number 11. These questions are related to Civil Procedure Code 1908. A Supreme Court has laid down the law relating to alternative dispute, this is very important, resolution processes, and section 89. So section 89 of CPC dealt with the settlement of dispute outside the court of the Civil Procedure Code in the case of, so in case of Afcon Infrastructure Limited versus Cherian Worky Construction Company. So answer is here option B. Now question number 12. An appeal under order 43 of Code of Civil Procedure shall lie from which of the following orders? So shall lie from Rule 9 of Order 22, and which thing is provided in Rule 9 Order 22? So this is the refusing to set aside the abatement or dismissal of suit. So answer here option B. Now question number 13. A civil procedure code, a decree against government of, this is very important, the decree against government of India or state government shall not executed unless it remain unsatisfied for the period of. So this question is related to section 82 subsection 2 and for a period of 3 months. So answer here option C. Now question number 14. A civil procedure code, the object of oral examination under order 10 rule 2 of CPC is, so CPC is to elucidate the matter in controversy in the suit. Option B here to record the evidence, option C here to secure admission, and option D here none of those. So clearly answer is here option A, to elucidate the matter in controversy in the suit. Now question number 15. A civil procedure code, the provision for setting aside ex parte decree is, this is very important question here. So the provision of setting aside ex parte decree is provided in order 9 rule 13. So answer here option C. Now question number 16. Under section 13 of civil procedure code, a foreign judgment, this is very important, section 13 dealing with the foreign judgment, can be challenged on the ground of, so can be challenged on the ground of competency of court pronouncing the judgment. Yes, it is proper ground. Being obtained by fraud, it is also proper ground. Option C here, sustaining a claim founded on a breach of law in force in India. Yes, all these grounds are proper here. So answer option D, all of these. Now question number 17. A civil procedure code, the provision of specific denial is provided. So the provision of, very important word here, specific denial is provided in rule 3 and rule 5 of order 8 CPC. Answer here option C. Now question number 18. Civil procedure code, the court can issue a commission, this is very important, for scientific investigation under, so under rule 10A of order 26 of CPC. So answer here option A. Now question number 19. Under which provision of civil procedure code an order of temporary injunction, this is very important here, temporary injunction may be discharged, vary or set aside. So temporary injunction may be discharged, vary or set aside under rule 4 of order 39. So answer here option D. Now question number 20. A civil procedure code, who has right to make an application for amendment of judgments or orders under section 152 of CPC. Option A here, a person aggrieved. Option B here, person aggrieved with permission of court. Option C here, any of the parties, and option D here, government pleader. So answer is here option C, any of the parties. And who has the right to make an application for amendment of judgment and order under section 152? So any of the party to the suit. So answer here option C. Now question number 21. Civil procedure code, the court is required to appoint a guardian, this is very important word here, ad litem. So ad litem is provided in which order? So it is provided in order 32 and rule 3. Rule 1 and rule 2 related to next front, and rule 3 is related to ad litem, and it is provided for a minor defendant only. So answer here option B. Now question number 22. Where a suit is dismissed under rule 2 or rule 3 of order 9 of civil procedure code. So option A, the plaintiff is debarred from filing fresh suit. Option B here, only remedy with the plaintiff is to seek setting aside of such order. So this question related to rule 2 or rule 3 of order 9, and where the dismissal of suit. So option C here, the only remedy is to bring a fresh suit, and last one, the plaintiff may, subject to the law of limitation, bring a fresh suit, or he may apply for an order to set the dismissal aside. So answer is here option D. Now question number 23. A civil procedure code, at the stage of evidence, counsel of plaintiff filed an application for adjournment which was rejected and suit was dismissed for want of evidence. The plaintiff has a remedy to file. So plaintiff has remedy to file application under order 9, rule 9 of CPC. Answer here option C. Now question number 24. A civil procedure code, an execution proceeding before trial court, a person filed an application under order 21, rule 97 CPC on the ground that, this is very important here, he was bona fide purchaser of sued property. His objection, so his objection is not maintainable because his less pendens prohibits a party from dealing with the property, and which is the subject. So answer here option B. Now question number 25. A civil procedure code, the legal provision for restoring to a party on the modification, this is very important, modification, variation or several of the decree, what has been lost to him in execution of a decree or in direct consequence of decree is, so option A here, application under section 114, option B here, application under section 115, option C here, application under section 144, this is very important here, and last one, application under section 96. So answer is here option C, application under section 44, and this section related to the legal provision for restoration and to a party on the modification, variation or reversal of a decree, and that has been lost to him the execution of decree or to direct the consequence of decree is under section 144. Now these questions are related to Transfer of Property Act 1882. So question number 26. If the tenancy of an immovable property, this is very important question here, immovable property is monthly, and then in order to terminate the lease of it, a notice, so this is very important, order to terminate the lease of it, a notice of which period shall be given. So such notice shall be given for the period of 15 days. So answer is here option D, and this question is related to section 106 of Transfer of Property Act. Now question number 27. The Transfer of Property Act, when two persons mutually transfer the ownership of, this is very important, mutually transfer the ownership of one thing for the ownership of another, and neither things or both things being money only, the transaction is called, so such transaction is called the exchange. So answer here option D. Now question number 28. Under Transfer of Property Act, what property may be transferred? Option A here, mere a right to sue, it is not transferred. Option B, a public office, it is absolutely not transferred. Option C here, a chance of an heir apparent succeeding to an estate, and so it is also not transfer. And last one, any property transfer of which is not barred by law, yes, it is transferred. So answer is here option D. Now question number 29. Transfer of Property Act, A sell his house to B with condition that B cannot transfer his house to anyone except C. This sale is, so this sale is valid but condition is void. So answer is here valid but condition is void. So answer option A. Now question number 30. A Transfer of Property Act, A makes a gift of rupees 80,000 to B, but a reserve right, so this is very important, reserve right with B's consent to take back, this is very important word, take back at pleasure rupees 30,000. So what will be the legal status of gift? So there is only gift of rupees 50,000 because he getting the consent of B of rupees returning 30,000. So there is only 50,000 rupees. So such gift is valid up to 50,000. So answer is here option D. Now question number 31. Subrogation is related to which section of Transfer Property Act? Very famous rule here. Doctrine of subrogation is provided in section 92. Answer here option D. Now question number 32. The Transfer Property Act, in which transaction no interest in the property is created? So clearly no interest in the property created in license. So answer is here option B. And remaining lease, mortgage and tenancy, there is a create the interest in the property. Now question number 33. These questions are related to Indian Contract Act 1872. So first question 33. The Indian Contract Act, the communication of an acceptance is complete as against the acceptor. This is very important here. The communication of an acceptance is complete as against the acceptor. Option A, as soon as the acceptance is made by the acceptor. So it is wrong here. It is not complete here, communication. Option B, when it put in the course of transmission to the proper, it is also not a proper acceptance of the acceptors. Now third one, when it come to the knowledge, this is very important, knowledge of proposer, yes, it is the valid acceptance against the acceptor. So answer here option C. Now question number 34. Indian Contract Act, two parties enter into a contract and they later realize that the law as they understood is applicable was not in force. This is very important in India. So this makes their contract void. So because the law not in force in India. So answer here option B. Question number 35. Indian Contract Act, an alternative promise, one branch of which is legal and other is illegal. So option A, whole alternative promise can be enforced. So it is wrong here because one branch is illegal. So option B, whole alternative promise cannot be enforced. It is also wrong because one branch of that alternative promise is legal. Option C, here only legal branch of alternative promise can be enforced. Yes, this statement is absolutely correct here. So answer option C. And this question is related to section 58 of Indian Contract Act. So answer here option C. Now question number 36. The Indian Contract Act, a contract is not frustrated. So contract is not frustrated. Option A, by commercial hardship. Yes, the contract is not frustrated by commercial hardship. So answer is here option A. And this thing is provided related to the doctrine of frustration, and it is provided in section 56 of Indian Contract Act. So answer option A. Now question number 37. Section 62 of Contract Act relate to the, so section 62 of Contract Act relate to the novation. So answer is here option B. Now question number 38. Indian Contract Act, A agreed to sell to B a specific cargo of goods supposed to be on its way from England to Bombay, and it turned out that before the day of the bargain, the ship conveying the cargo had been cast away and the goods lost. Neither party was aware, this is very important, neither party was aware of these facts. The agreement is, so the agreement is clearly here void agreement, because the subject matter of the contract is struck down, lost here. So there is no possibility of the proper contract. So it is void agreement. Now question number 39. The Indian Contract Act, which of these precedents is related with the doctrine of frustration? Very important case here, Satyabrat Ghosh versus Mangani Ram Bangar. So its citation is 1954. This is very important case. So answer is here option A. Now question number 40. The Indian Contract Act, if minor is supplied with necessaries, so if minor is supplied with necessaries, so minor is personally liable, so minor is not personally liable, minor is not liable, yes, it is correct here, minor is not liable. Minor's state or property is liable, yes, this answer is, this option is absolutely correct according to the question. And remaining here, a minor is liable on becoming major, so it is also wrong. So clearly answer is here option C, minor's state or property is liable. A person who supply unnecessary goods to minor, recovery of his expenses from the state of minor or property of minor. Answer option C. Now question number 41. In a suit for injunction under section 40 of Specific Relief Act 1963, the damages, option A cannot be awarded, so it is wrong here, it is awarded. Option B here can be awarded in addition to the injunction. Option C here can be awarded in lieu of the injunction. Option D here can be awarded either in addition or addition to or in substitution for the injunction. So clearly answer here option D. Now question number 42. Under Specific Relief Act 1963, the power of court to engage expert, this is very important here, power of court to engage expert is provided under which section? So under section 14A. So answer here option B. Now question number 43. Specific Relief Act, if a person is dispossessed from immovable property without due process of law, this is very important, and he has to file suit for possession. So suit for possession, option A here 3 months, option B here within 4 months, option C here within 12 months, and option D here within 6 months. So answer is here option D, within 6 months. So answer here option D. And this question is related to the section 6 of the Specific Relief Act. So answer here 6 months. Now question number 44. Under section 20C of Specific Relief Act, for disposal of a suit, maximum period is provided for. So maximum period is provided for 12 plus 6 months. So answer is here option B, 18 months. Now question number 45, and this question is related to section 20C, very important section. Now question number 45. The plaintiff has filed a suit for only declaration of title, though he is not in possession of such suit property. The suit is barred under which provision of Specific Relief Act? So suit is barred under section 34 of the Specific Relief Act 1963. So answer here option A. Now question number 46. Under Specific Relief Act, in which of the following cases the court cannot order rectification of instruments? This is very important. Court cannot order the rectification of instrument. Option A here, where the instrument and through a fraud, so does not express the real intention, so in that time court can issue the rectification order. Option B here, where the instrument through the mutual mistake and does not express the real intention of the party, in that time the court issues the order of rectification. Option C here, where the instrument is in article, this is very important here, article of association of company. So where the instrument is article of association of company, in that time the court cannot issue the order of rectification. So answer is here option C, and this thing is clearly provided in section 26 of the Specific Relief Act. Now question number 47. These questions are related to Limitation Act 1963. Now question number 47. Any other application for which limitation period has not been provided in Limitation Act? So this is very important question. In previous videos same question is asked. Please pay attention on this question. So again I repeat the question. Any application for which limitation period has not been provided in Limitation Act, then the limitation period will be, so the limitation period will be 3 years. So answer is here option A. Now question number 48. Section 5 of Limitation Act does not apply. So section 5 of Limitation Act does not apply in suit. So answer here option A. Now question number 49. The Limitation Act, in computing the period of limitation for any suit, appeal or application, that they shall be excluded. This is very important. On which option A here, limitation period is to be computed. Option B here, the judgment has been pronounced in appeal. Option C here, the time requisite for obtaining a copy of the judgment, and option D here, all of these. So all of these here, answer option D. Now question number 50. The Limitation Act, for the purpose of this act, in a suit for pauper, this is very important, the suit shall be deemed to be instituted on the date. So option A here, when application for leave to sue as pauper is made. So answer here option A. Now question number 51. These questions are related to MP Accommodation Control Act 1961. Under section 13 subsection 2 of MP Accommodation Control Act, the fixing of provisional, this is very important here, fixing of provisional rent is necessary where the dispute related to, so dispute related to amount of rent. So answer is here option B. So it is a provisional rent. This section is very important, section 13 subsection 2. Now question number 52. MP Accommodation Control Act, in case of composite tenancy, the residential and non-residential purpose, the landlord can seek eviction of tenant. Option A here, by proving need for residential purpose. Option B, by proving need for non-residential purpose. Option C here, by proving need for any purpose. And option D here, by filing a suit under the special provision as contained in section 20 of Act. So answer is here clearly option C, by proving need for any purpose. Now question number 53. MP Accommodation Control Act, if a tenant fail to deposit or pay any amount as required under section 13 of Accommodation Control Act, option A here, the court shall order to cost. Option B here, the court shall pass a decree against the tenant. Option C here, the court shall initiate the punishment proceeding against defendant. Option D here, the court may order the defense against eviction to be struck out. So answer is here option D. Again I repeat the question. The MP Accommodation Control Act, if the tenant fail to deposit and or pay any amount as required under section 13 of Accommodation Control Act, the court may order the defense against eviction to be struck out. Now question number 54. MP Accommodation Control Act, the tenant has, whether before or after the commencement of this act, the caused or permitted to be caused substantial damage, this is very important here, substantial damage to the accommodation, this ground for eviction. So substantial damage caused by the tenant and to the accommodation, this is the ground of the eviction. So this ground for eviction is mentioned in, so this ground of eviction is mentioned in section 12 subsection 1 clause K. So answer is here option B. Now question number 55. MP Accommodation Control Act, what is wrong about appeal against the order of rent controlling authority? Option A, it can be filed in the court of district judge. Option B, so it is correct here. Option B, the decision of the appellate court shall be final. Yes, this statement is also correct here. Decision of appellate court shall be final. Option C, an appeal shall lie from every order of rent controlling authority made under this act. Yes, this statement is also, all these statements are correct. Now last one, the limitation of filing appeal in is 90 days excluding the period requisite for obtaining a copy of the order. So this is wrong statement here, so answer option D. Now question number 56. These questions are related to MP Land Revenue Code 1959. So under section 29 of MP Land Revenue Code, who is competent to transfer a revenue case from one district to another district? So who is competent to transfer the revenue case from one district to another district? So here revenue board is competent to transfer revenue cases from one district to another district. So under section 29, option B is correct. Now question number 57. Reinstatement of Bhuswami improperly dispossessed, this is very important here, can be made under which section of MP Land Revenue Code? So section 250, reinstatement of Bhuswami and who is improperly dispossessed from his property. So answer is here option B. Now question number 58. MP Land Revenue Code, the boundaries of all villages shall be fixed and demarcated by permanent boundary mark. This is very important here, is provided in. So the boundaries of all villages shall be fixed by the permanent boundary mark under section 124 of MP Land Revenue Code. So answer here option B. Now question number 59. MP Land Revenue Code, the failure to vacate a land in favor of allottee of land would be an offence punishable with imprisonment for maximum period of 3 years. So answer here option D. Now question number 60. MP Land Revenue Code, who will decide the dispute related to demarcation and maintenance of boundaries lie? So the dispute related to demarcation and maintenance of boundaries lie by the collector. So answer is here option C. Now finish this video, and if you like this video, please click on like button and share it to your friends and relatives and social medias. And before finishing this video, I request you please subscribe our channel and also press the bell icon button which will provide you further notification of our videos. Please press it. Thank you for watching Indian Judicial Service.